Hey, what's happening, everybody? You're listening to Portraits in Color, a podcast that takes a unique look at race in America through the stories of artists, entrepreneurs, educators, and cultural critics. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Mirabal.
Welcome to Portraits in Color. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Mirabal. I'm here with Baracutanga and two of its founding members. We have Nick Baker and Carlos Noboa. See, I had to practice that a couple of times, right?
Noboa.
Make sure that I got it, Noboa. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
How are you guys doing in these COVID times?
We're making it. We're getting through. You know, it's not without a struggle, but we're overcoming the obstacles and making it through.
So we want to start with the origin story of Baracutanga. So let's start with the name. How did you guys come about that name?
I think Kilko found that name. It means people dancing in the Afrikaans language. And so we all liked it.
Such an appropriate name.
Yeah, it's appropriate and it has a very percussive quality. Baracutanga, right? It sounds like a drum rhythm, so it fits.
Before Baracutanga, we play a lot of Brazilian instruments like percussion. And actually, that was our first gig, like just percussion, like 2-hour.
2-hour jam sessions. Just going for it.
Just going for it. So we had a different names that are related with samba or Brazil. But later we realized we need a name so we can unite Latin America.
Yeah.
So that's why.
So tell me some of the other names that were floating around, because I know, being in a band myself, you know, by the time we ended up on the name that we decided upon, we went through all kinds of crazy names, and some of them I look back now, like 20-some years later, I was like, what were we thinking? We're going to call ourselves Velvet Jones? We're a bunch of pimps wearing pimp hats? What is this? So what are some of the other names that you guys were thinking about?
Yeah, I think was a band here called Samba Soul, something like that.
Samba Kirky was
Samba Kirky.
one possibility.
Yeah, so that kind of old Brazilian style names, you know. Yeah, but you know, as you know, we are from South America. 4 of the members, we're 5 now.
Where are you from, Carlos?
I'm from Ecuador.
Ecuador.
And we have from Bolivia, Kilko, el director from Baracutanga too, Jackie from Peru. So that's why we trying to have.
You guys are representing.
Yes, sir.
South America. Yeah. So talk, in terms of like your music, if there's people that have never heard your music before, how would you describe your music and your sound?
Well, it's very Latin for one thing, and so a lot of cumbia, Brazilian influence of the batucada, samba, and also other influences like reggaeton and some of those kind of rhythms are in the mix. But it's very much a mixture. It's not one thing. It's a collection of rhythms.
And did your sound come from like very long jam sessions, just getting to know one another, influences, things of that nature?
Yeah, from the beginning, like I said, like we start with a Brazilian thing, but you know, my background is more in Andean music, like flute music, more Asian type of music. So I came with that, and different people come with different backgrounds, like rock from here, people from New Mexico who was playing with us too. So we have a different backgrounds in music.
So I have an interesting question for you. So being that you guys are, living and performing in New Mexico, and when we think Latin music and stylistically Latin music in New Mexico, you think of that New Mexico music, that ranchera style that's unique to this territory. Al Hurricane, that type of thing. How hard was it for you guys to like build audience in the context of a lot of people when they think Latin music and supporting that style of music? Was it difficult?
Yeah, I'd say so, and not just New Mexican music, but there's a lot of salsa here in Albuquerque.
For sure.
And so it's like you're either flamenco, you're salsa, or you're ranchera, and we don't fit any of those. So yeah, I think it was difficult at first to just say Latin. Well, so we try and get more specific. Okay, we do cumbia, we do batucada.
Was it difficult finding venues to play at?
Especially, and because you hear like Latin music that people thinks in salsa, they expect this kind of rhythm, and we play so differently It's fun, but
Yeah.
it's not salsa or not this rhythm. So we have a blend of rhythm. So, but took us like a couple years to
Yeah.
people
Right.
understand what we play.
Well,
So
it's-
yeah,
of
to
course.
answer your question, like we don't really fit into the cooperage, for instance, or
Yeah.
you know those venues that okay, this is the style of music they have. So yeah, the answer is yes.
And so your music is kind of, indicative of like, so you think about like the Latino population, and people want to look at it as a monolith. But you got people from Ecuador, you have people from Peru, you have people from Mexico, the different cultures, the different styles of music. So there is no kind of like one homogenous Latino population. So the fact that you're contributing, music, from your roots and bringing that to the overall kind of like mezcla is just probably a wonderful thing, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how many internationals are here in Albuquerque.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and when we started this group, we were tapping into the international community from the university. There was a lot of Brazilians and people from Latin America, and former member Sebastian was really great about like connecting with people. Oh, hey, come and hear us, and we'd have people from all over at our shows.
Yeah. So tell me about how the band got started, its evolution, because you guys have you're founding members, but there's been several members come and go in the band, but there's some core members that stayed the same. Talk about kind of how the band started and how it's evolved over the years.
So everything started with like Nico mentioned, Sebastian from Argentina. He was a friend of everybody. This kind of friend you have. There's know everybody here, and at that time I was playing with another band, and I received a call to jam, actually. So we get together. He called different members, like a Blake, that was the first one, Kilko. So we met that day, that Saturday there, and we started to just jamming from there. Like he was the main reason we get together as a.
That's how some of the best things come together, right? It's very organically.
Yeah, and feels
get together.
good.
Yeah,
it feels
absolutely.
really good just playing, and the music was my first time playing that Brazilian stuff. But I have the opportunity and the open mind to put my influences, my bass, my way.
Right.
So we didn't have this
Yeah.
strictly thing.
So I want to take people behind the curtains a little bit. So we're going to have a little fun here.
Yeah.
So people don't understand kind of the dynamics in bands. They're like very complex relationships, right? So like you put together this eclectic group of people that are creative in a band, and you create something, that hopefully is unique. So first of all, who are the creative forces in the band? Because the thing about it is, what people don't know is you could be in a band of 9 people, and it might be only 2 people that are writing the music. So is that the case in your band?
Yes and no. Kilko is a huge creative force. He has a lot of ideas musically and lyrically, and he's written a lot of our songs. I've written songs, more the music of songs, and then I'll bring it to the band, and then we all jam on it and come up with an arrangement. Micah has written a lot of horn lines and melodies. Jackie has contributed a lot of lyrics, especially. And Carlos, everybody has contributed melodies and different pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah.
We've even asked our wives to write lyrics for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really a mixture. So yeah, some people like Kilko are more creative, but everybody has input.
So who are the members in the band that are never on time? Because that's the thing about being around other creatives, right? And I know you probably don't want to out certain people, right? But because you're like, well, man, should I out them? But there's got to be some people in the band that are never on time.
You could probably guess.
Yeah.
I better not.
Try to guess.
Let me say,
options.
does the first name start with a J?
It does.
Okay. All right.
Start with a J and then
There you go. So Jackie, start showing up on time. No, I'm just kidding. It's your band. You can come whenever you want. Well, thank you so much for sharing your origin story with us. You guys are going to play a song right now, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So we're going to take a short pause, but when we come back, we're going to hear a live song from Baracutanga. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Frank.
thank you so much.
Hola, we're Baracutanga. The song is called Si Tengo Tus Besos. De arena para entibiarte, romper el viento, sentir la lluvia y sal. Quiero aumentar las horas para estar contigo y hacer de la aurora la eternidad. No quiero ninguna excusa hasta el amanecer, sin miedo y contigo desaparecer. Quiero vestirte de sol y de luna. Quiero vestirme de tu desnudez. Quiero a mi manera ser tu poesía y sin palabras pintar un cielo dormido. Quiero coger una nube a besar. No quiero sentir otros labios, tengo tus besos. No tiene sentido buscar otro corazón. No quiero buscar otros brazos, tengo tu lecho. No quiero cambiar tu sonrisa por otro amor. Quiero las flores que dejas en mi camino. No quiero que intentes ni me dejes de amar. No quiero sentir otros labios, tengo tus besos. No tiene sentido buscar otro corazón. No quiero buscar otros brazos, tengo tu lecho. No quiero cambiar tu sonrisa por otro amor. Quiero las flores que dejas en mi caminar. No quiero que intentes.
Well, now that we're nice and warmed up, let's get to some serious talk. All right. They bring in the big guns for the serious talk, right? So we have Jackie Zamora, the lead singer of the band, Micah Hood, multi-instrumentalist, plays the Coke bottles, plays the washboard. What else do you want to hear? The desk, tap your feet.
Right.
Right?
Like you said earlier, every percussionist starts out on the desk, man.
That's right, that's right. You know, I don't know if you're anything like me, but I drive my wife crazy. You want to know why? Because every time we're in the car and I hit the turning signal, it's like a metronome to me.
Yeah, that's right.
Tick tock, and I just start jamming. And she's like, "What is wrong with this guy?"
That's it.
So I want to get to some serious talk. So the band is known for kind of being a party band, right? So when you talk about your origin story, you talk about that 2-hour jam session playing 4 songs. The band's rocking, the crowd's really enjoying it, but there's some really deep social message in your music. Why don't you talk about that really quick?
It all stemmed from, I think,
we knew that we were bringing large crowds, and we thought this was a really great opportunity. When we identified having a large crowd gives us also, it's an honor for an artist to be able to share messages with the crowd when we're performing. And it so happened that things were happening in the country and worldwide. Effects on our Mother Earth, families separated at the border, issues with racism that have never really gone away, and that we just felt like, if we get people's attentions, why is it that we can't just also talk about police brutality? Let's talk about we need to keep families together. Let's put all these ideas, all these thoughts into music. And, the rhythm part was the fun part, but actually sitting down and actually putting these lyrics, these ideas, these thoughts that we had into music, that was probably something very special. Our creative process has always been where one or two will come up with part of the body of a song, and then we'll bring everybody else, and everyone is contributing to this. And it kind of made sense for us to, in our political view also, is how well we harmonize, all of us in the band. We all come from different backgrounds, and we want to be able to exemplify that this type of unity is what we're also wanting to envision in the world.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of piggyback on that.
Sure.
Because something that we've talked about a lot is to be able to build bridges between the kind of South American way and the North American way of doing things. And in our music, we try to prize that diversity, that everybody has a say. And I think that is kind of the melting pot that we get to have a little bit of a say in, chipping in what's going on politically, what's going on at our borders, what's going on with, like Jackie mentioned, police brutality, which seems to have not calmed down at all.
Right.
And
we've been here before, right?
I know, and it just seems to keep cycling. And it's so interesting because when I first joined the band, what was it, about 5 years ago? Whenever I first joined the band about 5 years ago, we recently, back then, we came up with a tune, Deja de Matar, which is about just stop the police violence, stop the killing. We had a few really, really talented lyricists add their bits to it, which were just so profound. And it was incredible to be able to pull all of that stuff together and really say something, and it yet in a weird prophetic way come around again. And we listen to it again, and we perform it again, and it's like this constant reminder that we need to treat each other well, like as people here now in the present, being able to prize life and people, and really make sure that people matter, families matter, no matter what the skin color or what somebody talks like or what language somebody speaks. We're founded upon the principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that includes, and everybody is included in that. Sometimes it just takes like a blatant reminder, and I feel like that sometimes we want to write that kind of music that's that hard-hitting reminder. When this cycle's over again, just to remind people that, hey, there's a bigger thing going on here. We want to be able to unite as a people. We want to be able to dance together as one human race.
Yep. Do you guys feel like a certain responsibility, to interpret what you're seeing in the world through your music?
I personally think that it is our responsibility. When we are silent, I think is when we can be interpreted as agreeing. And I want to say
so silence is complicity.
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
It really is. And I want to say that our leader, our band director, is not here with us tonight, Quilco Paz from Bolivia. That was one of the driving forces for him when he said, the direction of the band is incredible. We're going in the right direction, but can we also add, it's weighing heavy on my mind, all the things going on in the world right now. Can we also add, let's talk about the political things that nobody wants to talk about. And it being that we're immigrants and half of the band comes from other countries, we felt, why not? You know, this feels right. It feels like it's our responsibility to share these thoughts, and because we believe in families should stay together, especially.
It's acknowledging, too, that, I mean, I come from, even though it's a couple of generations past, I come from an immigrant background, too. I come from an Irish-Welsh heritage, which, you know, had its own troubles.
Y'all like to fight, too.
Yeah, exactly. but like, you know, I ever since, again, 5 years ago, joining the band, I have been realizing that this is much more of a problem than just what's reported on the news, really. I mean, there are lives that are being completely broken by this. That on a gig, we can say what's going on because we might know people personally, or we're writing knowing this family or this particular community. We have them in mind, and we want to be able to say something important while still offering, you know, kind of a space for people to have a good time. And I think that the balance of that, you know, depends on the song. But the balance of that's really been interesting. And I noticed this cyclical thing going on, that every once in a while it comes back. And we just want to be able to keep saying that this is what's important.
Yeah, reminding people, you know, that we have to do something about it. We have to take a stand, and it's whether it's through music or activism, whatever it may be. I think what's important is to be able to raise your voice.
What type of feedback do you get from your audience? So, you know, so those that like to come and party and stuff like that, and they hear a deep message. I'll give you an example, right? So like sometimes I'm in the car with family, and we're listening to music with deep social message, and they're like, I have to deal with that all day. We're on a 24-hour news cycle. When I listen to music, I just want to relax and have a good time. Do you get any type of feedback regarding the message in the music?
We've had a lot of different feedback. The majority has always been about thank you. We needed to hear these voices. This message needed to be said out loud. And then of course we've had, you know, a few folks who's like, man, you guys are killing a good party. And it's like, no, we're not. Just don't worry about the message. Then just dance, do your thing. You know, if you're just
hum the lyrics.
Yeah. And we want to also make it clear, we are not trying to impose our ideas on anybody. This is simply our voices that we are raising, our ideas, our hopes for the future. If we don't always have to share the same ideas, the same ideals and hopes for your families, for our communities, but I think in a way we all have something in common. If we just find that and try to be respectful about it. We're not trying to, you know, make anybody else favor our ideas, but if you want to dance, you've come to the right place.
There you go. So that's a good way to end this particular segment. Thank you so much for being on the show. This has been awesome.
Absolutely.
We're going to end with some music with you guys, right?
Yeah.
Want to perform for us?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So this is Portraits in Color. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Mirabal. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to end with another song by Baracutanga. You can find me on social media at Frank Mirabal on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm not that original, you know what I mean?
That's all you need.
I don't want to think too hard, you know. You can find me on all platforms, and you can listen to Portraits in Color on all platforms streaming podcasts. And until next time, peace.
This song is called Arroz con Leche.
ahorita yo debía actuar mostrando respeto y educación al que tiene la ventaja por ser el varón. Mi mamá insistía que debía aprender a lavar, a planchar y también a coser, mientras los hombrecitos de la familia luego de trabajar descansar deberían. Cuando yo empecé el colegio todo empeoró. Mis amigas a los 10 ya andaban maquilladas con la gran ilusión de que algún día un príncipe azul